let's continue our walk around here at the Detroit Auto Show, and let's stop off here at the Ford booth. A couple cars that I really want to see here, first of all, is this, the new Ford Explorer. There's another car just down there, which we'll take a look at in a minute, the new Shelby GT500. But this is a new platform, a new architecture, flexible architecture that Ford has developed. It's a rear-wheel drive platform. The design is a little bit more evolutionary, but I think it's got a nice, fresh look. Might seem a bit similar to the previous version, but there's a lot more technology going on underneath. So let's take a quick look at this car. I do really like the way the Ford Explorer looks. I like how the headlight kind of merges into the front grille. It's very dynamic. I like the fact that it's also very horizontal. LED lights for the daytime running lights, indicators, as well as the main headlamps. A large blue oval in the middle with 3D logo for the Ford font. Further down, I think it's very plain, very simple. You have a lot of the assistance systems like the radar sensor, the camera, which is over here, the parking sensors. So I think a very neat package compared to some of the other cars that we see here in the US, like perhaps Ram or Dodge. I think this is a little bit more toned down in terms of its design. But then again, it's subjective. Would you have liked a new redesigned front look for the Explorer, or do you like the fact that it's still more, something more familiar? Very long swooping lines along the side, a fairly short shoulder line, which is kind of good because then the windows are quite large. I also really like the C-pillar, which is tapering backwards, kind of like the GLE. And overall, I think it's a very good stance. 20-inch wheels also give this car a lot of good, a very strong road presence. And towards the back as well, the last rear pillar is blacked out, very similar to the way the shade of the tinted rear windows are. So it kind of gives this floating roof effect, which makes the car seem a lot more dynamic. Your towing hitch down there, twin exhaust pipes, which look pretty cool. And I really like the fact that this is also a rear-wheel drive platform. I think rear-wheel drive SUVs make a lot more sense than front-wheel drive SUVs, simply because it's a lot more capable on undulating roads and a little bit more off-road capable than front-wheel drive SUVs. But on the whole, it's a very neat package. I think just it has the right amount of design cues, like this spoiler, and it's not really over the top, something that's more suitable to my taste. What about yours? Make sure you follow us on Instagram. We always post sneak peek pictures and videos, some special content, even special episodes that you can watch all for free, of course. And you can be the first before these videos even go online. And of course, we always post like these, for example, these stories. And you can tell us what you think, you can tell us what you want to see before we even get to the show and before we even start filming, and we can cater to your questions. So it's a great way to communicate with us, keep in touch, and see some more extra content. Let's take a look inside. I also see that this car has a passcode that you can type in to unlock the car. But since it's unlocked because it's a show car, it doesn't really matter. The door opens really wide, giving you a very large and easy access into the cabin. Materials down here, as usual, are quite hard, but more plush, soft materials all the way to the top. Let's hop inside. Getting inside is fairly easy. The ground clearance is sufficient, but it's not extreme, so I don't have to clamber up. Sitting inside is a fairly spacious cabin. The seat is actually not that high. I mean, of course you can raise it up, but I usually like to keep it low down, and in this way it does feel quite car-like. You don't really feel that you're sitting in such a tall, big SUV. Sitting inside, it is fairly spacious, but somehow the dashboard seems a bit mundane to me. There isn't really anything that's drawing my attention. There is some faux wood inserts along the top, but it's not that noticeable and not really something I personally would really enjoy. The materials on the top of the dash are quite soft, so that's pretty good. A floating display, and as you can see down here as well, more storage and a lot more charging ports as well, which are available. The rotary dial, which has kind of freed up a lot more space in the center console for more beverage holders. A very large center cubby hole, as you can see down here. Also an inductive charging port at the front. But yeah, I think this could be a little bit more dramatic, or a little bit more theatrical, or more engaging. But on the whole, I can't complain too much. All right, let's hop into the back seat, take a look. Yeah, getting inside is fairly easy. Again, thanks to the fact that it doesn't have an exorbitant amount of ground clearance. Ingress is quite easy. You can also recline the back seat to a desired angle. Plenty of knee room. I can also slide my feet under the front seat. Headroom for my 5'8" is pretty good. Of course, if you're sitting in the middle, this panoramic roof will liberate a lot more headspace. But it's a nice airy cabin. I have tall windows. I have access to the front windshield. Panoramic sunroof as well. Makes it really nice and airy. The center seat is also fairly comfortable. It is a bit upright. It is a bit stiff because of the armrest. But there are air conditioning vents actually up here on the roof, which is actually, I think, really interesting. A good way of doing it. Usually the center console has rear air conditioning vents and they kind of blow out your knees all the time. But of course, B-pillar or, on the roof, I think, are a little bit better. So that's good to see. Charging ports, as usual, as expected. And yeah, I think the back seat is fairly good. Even though it's a rear-wheel drive platform, the transmission tunnel is also not that intrusive. Let's check the third row of the Explorer. One single switch to tumble the seat and slide it forward. I also have a nice step footwell area just down here to get inside. I don't see any handle. I guess I have to use this side. And in we go. Pull the seat back. So, back here it's not that bad. I have pretty decent leg room with the seat in front. I have good shoulder room. I still have a small 3/4 window, but of course the bench is really low down. My thighs are off the seat completely. My knees are up high. There is no support for my under thigh, so it's not really that comfortable for long journeys for big adults, but children would fit in here. You also have ISOFIX points for child seats, so I think that is probably the best way to utilize these two seats back here. But it's good to have a 7-seater, and I can also see back here in the trunk there's still a good amount of space to put a few suitcases, so a good family car. Let's take a look at the trunk, since we were speaking about it. Automatic tailgate, at least here in the limited trim. And see, this is what I was talking about. Even with the third row of seats up, there's a generous amount of room, even more storage underneath the bed, and of course the spare tire down there. Let's put that panel back up. But yeah, with this in place, it is a very flat loading area, not much of a loading lip. And if you want more space, you can just tumble the headrests really quickly and use these buttons here to tumble the seat automatically, which is a handy, useful feature to have. I'm here with Bill, who is the chief engineer of the car. Thank you so much for taking your time to talk to us about the car. So back in Germany, we're not that familiar with this car. So can you tell us a little bit about what's new for this year, for this model, and generally what you guys at Ford are trying to achieve in the future and how this plays a part in getting there?
Absolutely. So this is the 2020 Ford Explorer, and it is all new from the ground up. It's our all-new flexible architecture platform that is rear-wheel drive based, and we started from the ground. We looked at what powertrain options we were going to start with, and then we meticulously recrafted the entire car for the customer. Right, but rear-wheel drive, right out they get on the architecture was something that we're really proud of.
So I think this architecture also is going to be used for the upcoming Lincoln Navigator, is that correct?
Lincoln Aviator. Yep, so we share the platform with them, and that is some of the fundamentals on the underneath, but in the grand scheme of things, they are very separate vehicles and engineered in completely different ways.
Fantastic.
Just
so,
to target customers.
Right, and because it's a rear-wheel drive architecture now, does that mean that there is a possibility to have all-wheel drive options?
Yep, every offering in our lineup has the ability to get four-wheel drive as well, so it is a customer selectable option.
Can you tell us a little bit about the drivetrain, what kind of engines and the hybrid technology, how that's working together now?
So we start with a 2.3-liter EcoBoost engine. It's a turbocharged engine, and that has 300 horsepower, a really great package. And again, with the rear-wheel drive or the four-wheel drive option. From there, we have a step up into our hybrid power pack, which is a 3.3-liter naturally aspirated engine with the hybrid battery, and that produces 318 of combined horsepower. A really nice package for the customer. There we're targeting over 500 miles of range, so a great improvement for the customer. And then on the high end, we have in our Platinum and our ST, we have a 3.0-liter twin turbocharged EcoBoost engine. In the Platinum trim, it has 365 horsepower, and that has a really nice, luxurious, refined powertrain calibration. But then for some raw fun and driving engagement and excitement, we go over to our ST, where we're running 400 horsepower. And it's really a great package to drive. It has awesome 21-inch wheels, huge bright red brake calipers. It's really come out to be a driving enthusiast package for us.
And so now moving to this new architecture, what are the improvements in the interior space? Is that something that is bigger now, a little bit less? How's it changed?
That's a great question. So we started by moving the wheelbase. So we widened the wheelbase by about 6 inches, and that really allowed us to respace the first, second, and third row seats and fix some of those couple distances that were giving the impression of a large car feeling small on the inside. We also redid the center console. We went to a rotary gear shift and really got the stick shift out of the way to make it easy to plug things in, easier access to your cup holders, better small item storage. Paired that with both an 8-inch screen and then a 10-inch screen on the high end as well. A really nice redo of the interior.
And I see you guys have a couple different variants here at the show. Of course, the standard model in blue over here. There's also the Police Interceptor, and of course the ST, which we'll take a look at in a couple minutes. But maybe in a few words, what are the major modifications that went into making the new Police Interceptor from the standard new Explorer?
So the Police Interceptor is really something that we have completely engineered for today's officer. Right? It is their rolling office on wheels. And now it may look the same on the outside as an Explorer, but once we get it under the hood on the inside of the vehicle, it truly is purpose-built. Everything from ballistic door panels to seats with the side bolsters relieved so the officers can sit in there with their gun belts very comfortably. It has column shift, very traditional column shift for the police performance driving. It does share the 3.3-liter hybrid power pack, but the gear ratios are different. Certainly the calibrations are different.
It's heavier.
A little bit heavier than the standard retail car, but then it's also designed to handle a 75-mile-an-hour rear impact, and that is something that's really important for our officers. Right? Unfortunately, that is a real-world scenario for them, and we're glad that we can engineer to that and help their safety on the side of the road.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, AJ.
And looks like you guys have a great product.
We're very excited. Thank you very much.
Let's take a quick look before we wrap up this video with the Explorer ST Platinum. We just heard about this car, has a more powerful engine on the inside, also like the matte black, or rather the glossy black logo on the top, also the black honeycomb grille, black tires, black rims rather, as well as quad tailpipes at the rear. I think it gives this car a nice sporty flavor, also with this bright red color. So, in conclusion, I think the Explorer has had a very good evolutionary change now with the next generation. Fundamentally a very different car than before because it's on a new platform. It's rear-wheel drive now, and this architecture is going to be used for some other Lincoln cars in the future. But they have not compromised on the interior space, although I do wish the interior dashboard design was a little bit more upmarket, was a little bit more, I don't know, a bit more trendy. What do you guys think?